Welcome to Raise It Up with me, Danny Kagan, entrepreneur, mom of two, and your host. This is a place for real, unfiltered conversations about growth with ambitious women, mothers, and entrepreneurs who are building businesses while raising families. Together, we're redefining what peak performance looks like and reshaping modern motherhood. From parenting and personal growth to business and beyond, let's dive in with practical insights, empowering takeaways, and inspiring conversations. I'm excited that you're here. Let's go. Today's episode is powered by Yorkdale Lincoln, my absolute favorite dealership. From your very first visit to every drive in your Lincoln, you'll feel the calm, confidence, and care that defines the Lincoln way. Enjoy concierge-level service, seamless technology, and through our exclusive partnership with Mavenshea, that's my brand, every new Lincoln owner receives a limited edition pair of luxury slippers crafted for comfort that extends beyond the drive. Experience the difference at Yorkdale Lincoln. Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode and welcome to our incredible guest today, Lexi. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Lexi is the coolest story, you guys. I want to go back to your original story of creating your incredibly successful business. I feel like there's going to be so many golden nuggets that people are going to take away from today's episode. So I want to go back in time. Why waxing? Why did you start Waxon?
This is always my deep dark secret. I am not obsessed with hair removal. It's not my true passion. However,
That's so refreshing, by the way.
Right? However, it was and especially now being in a place where I actually can reflect a lot about the business. It was a means to receiving all of the fruits of my passion, which is women and empowering women, and specifically servicing, which very much Waxon services men, but we are predominantly female-based client base. So anyways, that's spoiler alert. Hair removal is not just my primary jam. And I got into this business in a very unique way because I actually was a management consultant immediately coming out of university. At university, I'll also say, I did a co-op program, which I found exceptionally valuable because that meant I rotated work and school. So I got to start to see what I didn't like before having to immediately go into the workforce. And my last part of that was actually working, funny enough, in a at Maritime Beauty Supply, which is a beauty distributor of beauty supplies, full circle. And I worked with a consultant there doing a warehouse consulting project and just fell in love with the idea of the start and end of a project and improving, the productivity or revenue or profitability of a business. And that forged me straight into management consulting. So when I was in consulting, I didn't have any time whatsoever, as we all don't still to this day. And I found myself a lot, as one would back in the day prior to the Waxons of the world, in behind a shower curtain, receiving my waxes and just praying I would come out and not be completely destroyed. And it was because it was a cheap option and it was fast and readily available. And so I spent a lot of time consulting in actually Arizona, and I started going to a place there called European Wax Center. Today, they're a publicly traded massive company. I think then they already had 200 locations, and they specialized only in waxing. And now, to date myself, I started the business when I was 25. So this is a long time ago. It's 14 years ago. And it, back then, but way, way, way back then, Danny, there were no wax bars. There was really the only specialized service was blowouts. And so this was different. And in Canada, there was nothing like it. And so immediately, every time I was in there for a wax, I was just interviewing the person that was removing my hair and just asking them all about the business. And I thought, this is such an amazing idea. Why doesn't it exist? I couldn't understand it. And that's where kind of that question just got the best of me. And I started to actually dive into what it would be like to start Waxon in Canada. Well, start a waxing business in Canada.
And we all were there. Like we were all behind a shower curtain looking at
Yes.
some lady who was like, we were like, is this sanitary?
And it
Is
wasn't.
this the only way I can get wax? Yeah, it definitely wasn't sanitary.
Double
And
dipping was not
right?
sanitary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a very happy wax on customer and I like think that it is like the most exceptional experience. And I just feel like you were there at the right time, at the right place, but also you dove into it. Like how did you get to market? Like how did you actually go from idea and then go, okay, I have something here. I'm gonna like figure out my business plan.
Yeah. So I really started to just put some pieces together. So I started to like Google like how much do wax pots cost, right? Like started to build kind of a spreadsheet that just included like a rough estimate of like, is this actually like a viable business? It must be, because look at all these franchises opening up across America with European Wax Center. But started to like do the numbers and just look at like what does the opportunity actually look like. And then when I realized there is truly a business to be had here, the best thing I ever did is, and I tell people all the time, like I'm big on bite sizing, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, a lot in this. And it was kind of what I did back then, because I built just this massive spreadsheet and I just dumped every single thing that I would have to do before opening the business. And so there were small things, right? Like incorporating a company, like small and big, like you gotta incorporate a company. Who am I meeting with? Who are the key people that I need to be using as resources involved? And started to just walk through step by step. I'd be checking off every week. I'd have like what I needed to do that week. And this was still while I was working as a management consultant. And then you start to get to places where, oh, I need to actually find a physical location. I need to sign a lease. Like, I actually need to start paying for things. This is real, and I have to choose to jump. But by doing these little pieces every week and taking action every week, getting to that moment where I actually had to leap, it almost felt a little less scary, because I'd already done so much that you kind of get to a point where you're like, well, I can't not now. Like, I've already done all this work. Look at what I've done so far. Like, I got to take the leap now.
You know, it's funny because I'm thinking about like this early stage and like where you're at now. And I think what people see a lot is where you're at now. And like you were in the mud for so long. Like this did not happen overnight. You were probably doing all of this work for years, right? Like how long did it take for that idea, like inception, to get to your first location?
It was like 2 years before we actually opened the doors of Waxon. The first year I was building the concept while working, and then the second year, because as does, construction was delayed and things were delayed, I was not working and I was fully invested in getting this thing off the ground.
Do you think that's why it was successful? Because you were fully invested?
I think you have personal opinion, no option but to go 100% in, full leap, if you truly, truly want, especially your launch, to be a successful launch. I think you need to dedicate your entire self to it.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Um, so what
And you
made
know what I'll say? Joanna Griffiths has said this many times before, and I think it's incredible words of advice, is it like you only get one launch. You get to launch your business one time, right? And so for that launch, and it's not going to be perfect. Ours was everything but perfect. But from the outside perspective, it looked perfect. From the inside, pure chaos. We were changing and making iterations left, right, and center. How we opened the business is very different from how we operate it today. And those iterations have continued constantly through. And you need to be so pliable in order to like continue to satisfy your client base. But we had one mission in mind, and that was client experience from day one. And that launch was so successful because of that.
Right. And that also goes into other launches within your business. Like you only have that one time to launch a new product. You have that one shot, that one opportunity to launch a new location, right? Like it keeps happening. So you have to be fully invested. Okay. Two things I really want to touch on because I feel like people listening are really interested to hear about how franchising works, why you decided to do that. It's an interesting direction, it's a choice. What made you think, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to franchise this business?
So my initial 25-year-old self, my goal was, this was never a, I'm going to open one Waxon and like, yay, this is going to be amazing. Like, of course, just how I always think. It was like, I'm going to open 100 locations via franchise in 5 years, sell, and be like, yeah, great, on to the next. Here we go. Like,
I laugh
full
because like
delusional.
it's good though. It's good to
It's the
be like
best.
so delusional about
You
these
have to
goals,
be.
right? You
You
have to.
have to be. You have to be. And I continue to be delusional every year in how we're going to grow in the best way. And I think as a leader and the visionary of a business, like my team depended on that delusion, to be honest. They're like, I needed to be the big dreamer. And then my team helped to like rein it in into like, okay, and now this year from like, actually, let's build like our P&L. Like, what does a actual projection look like of the business this year and for 5 years, right? So you've got your realistic goals in the business, and then you've got to have these dreams of this is actually what I am truly manifesting and believe to be true. So sidebar there, but I think it's important.
So it's so important. It's so true. Okay, so you were thinking about 100 locations
Yeah.
and then what happened? And then you were like, let's franchise this.
And then I opened my first location. We opened the second location, and the first location was insane. Like you said, like right time, right market, like everything bang on. And then we opened our second location in the path, crush. Like same thing, bang bang boom. However, again, like internally, like we are figuring it out. And what I very quickly understood and the responsibility that a franchisor I believe must have is you are providing a toolkit to these people who want to open and become an entrepreneur of your business. And that's what I believe franchising is. You are entrepreneurs. You are an entrepreneur of a business that someone else has done the upfront work on, but your job is to operate that business and hold that brand integrity and continue to provide that exceptional service that you fell in love in as the franchisee that wants to open it, right? And so I really held that to like a very strong regard. And why I fell in love with franchising and what really kind of motivated me to dive right in was once I felt like we were in a place where we could truly hand over the toolkit and have a support system that supported our franchise partners and allowed us to continue to operate the brand consistently in every opening. I also saw this opportunity in franchising where it also has been traditionally very much a boys' club. You know, it's a lot of times like very much QSR brands that are huge franchise machines, and and it's a lot of times men who are behind the franchises. And I thought this is such a great opportunity for women to become entrepreneurs, to be their own boss, and to feel like you have someone supporting you when you take the leap, because you're signing a franchise agreement, like you are personally guaranteeing your ass is still on the line. And yet, and especially at Waxon, you have like this cheerleading squad that's supporting you through the process of doing it. So for me, I absolutely like being someone who loves women and seeing them succeed. Like nothing gave me more fuel than growing through female franchisees for the most part. So yeah, it's been a tremendous like rewarding experience that I had never expected when I originally seeked to have 100 locations in 5 years.
I love this. Like what you've created for women is exceptional. For people listening who don't understand what franchising
Yeah.
means, let's break that down for them.
Yeah. So franchising is when a business basically sells the rights to you to operate a location, and a lot of times there's a lot of controls in where that location will be, and the real estate, and like at Waxon we support through a lot of that process. And you get selected. So it's an interview process both ways, and then you're selected to essentially be the brand ambassador owner of that location as a franchisee, and you pay a royalty for the brand rights. So every week or month, however it's structured in that franchise entity, you would be paying as the franchisee a royalty, that's quite standard across most franchises, to have those brand rights and be part of the system or community that is their franchising community. And then you also pay an upfront fee, which is a franchise fee. But essentially, you are owning like an extension of the brand. It's called Waxon. It looks like a Waxon. No one would know it's a franchise or not. They shouldn't know because they are so consistent. And then through that, you also gain all the tools, training, help and support with issues and challenges that come up where oftentimes we're left alone. Now you have someone to go to ask, like, this is something I'm not really sure what to do with. This situation came up with a client or a team member, and can you help guide me? You have like a support system in that, which is, I think, so invaluable when you're building a business.
It's so invaluable.
And then you also get marketing tools. So like national marketing campaigns, right. So support through all of those aspects. And then your job is basically to grow your local market.
Yeah, that's super helpful. And they're operating that business as if it was their own business.
It is. Yeah. It is. Exactly. Yeah. Which I think is just not everyone thinks of it that way. And so I'm always, the first time someone comes on board or has a call with us around franchising, I'm like, congratulations. Like, you are on your way to becoming a business owner, an entrepreneur. And like, maybe it's not Waxon, but just having the call and making those first steps, like that can be life-changing for people.
Absolutely life-changing, especially for someone who's really entrepreneurial, but like doesn't really want all the risk upfront themselves. Like they're willing to take some risk. And I think it's actually a really cool opportunity to almost like have your own business, but really have like a lot more support than you would have if you were starting your own thing from zero, right?
Exactly. It's a more controlled risk because you're also going into a business that has been proven, and you're seeing them pop up continuously, one after another.
Exactly. One after the other. So, okay, so I feel like this is actually a really good segue, because what you've done really well, which is one of the hardest things to do, I think, is hiring.
Tell me, Danny, what? Tell me.
I think it's like really one of the hardest things that I found with my circle of entrepreneurs, like everyone around me. Like hiring is so challenging, and building teams and growing teams and firing. And it is, I think, one of the hardest parts. I think like we all think, oh, like the money piece, or, like the operational, like the actual people, the human capital that you have to pour your energy into is really difficult. And I feel like every time I've seen you, like you're with your team, you're doing something, there's a lot of momentum in getting everyone together and like bonding and creating that culture. And you've created that from, I think, the beginning. But I also want to hear about like the not so good parts of it and how you dealt with it, because I'm sure there were. But how do you build teams? You're so good at it.
Thank you. And I think it does start with a mindset around people and your team, right? Because, and this actually was not so much intentional. I now work so much on like mindset and how I'm thinking and being able to attract then what I wish and desire into my life and all that good woo-woo stuff. I didn't have that intentionality. So I thought when I started, however, it was so intentional from day one, because all I heard, the chatter that went around constantly around me, was around the aesthetic industry and how catty it was, how high turnover it was, how I wasn't going to be able to hold on to anyone. And I was just going to be hiring, people would leave, people would be fighting, and it was going to be very challenging. And that was the consistent message I'm receiving in an industry that I honestly had no business being in, because I have zero aesthetic experience. So I immediately was, 25, naive, and
Hold on, we all have aesthetic experience. We've all waxed our own
this
legs
is true.
or like plucked something on our own bodies. So like you didn't come from nothing.
That is true. That is true. And prepping for Waxon, sidebar, she's was with me since day one, best friend, and then like came in and was just like gung ho with on Waxon with me, my first hire. We were in my bathroom with all different waxes, just like trying them and comparing red patches on our legs, like what stripped the easiest. She thankfully did have aesthetic experience, but it was like a full trial and error on like every single wax that possibly was out there. We since have made our own wax because we simply couldn't find the best product. But yes, so that's
And you have the best wax out there.
we
Like
do.
hands down.
It is exceptional.
No one has told me to say this. I am saying this from experience. It is the
It
best.
it is exceptional. So, and there you go. It's because we could not find anything on the market that was as good as the Waxon wax that we then created. So, anyways, so being naive in 25, I was like, no, that's not going to be us. Like, I am going to create this differently. We're going to build a space that you can build careers, that you can stay, that you want to show up for work. And every location that we opened, I was there and I said these exact words. And it was that we want to build a space that you feel inspired, that you respect and you feel respected, that you feel like I think in the service industry, it is absolutely wild to me. Anyone who does not treat their employees with an immense level of respect. They are your product. They are providing the service to your clients. And specifically in my business, they're behind closed doors. The number one question people like to ask their waxers, how do you like working here? What's it like? Like, give me the juice. Like, I want the tea, whatever it's juice. Oh my God. Spill the tea, whatever it is, whatever the kids
Yes,
say.
we got you.
And so I want our team members saying they love where they work. And I always am like, you don't have to love it every single day, but majority of the time you are showing up for work and you are loving where you work. And that was the intention from day one. And then from there, you build your core values and you live and breathe from those core values. And those are what we hired on. Those are what we released people on. And then it's not a surprise, Danny, when someone's being released because it is so clear they are not aligned with the core values. And they know what those core values are. We set the expectation so clearly. You know how you need to show up if you want to continue here. And when it's misaligned for both. You're not going to succeed here if you don't believe in the passion and expectations that are here. And our relationship's not going to succeed. And so it allowed us to be a lot more free in how we approached releasing people from the business as well, because it was so crystal clear in our core values. And we built those core values with our team members. Like we did this amazing exercise where every location had Post-its and they wrote like how they feel about working at Waxon. What are the key traits of working at Waxon? And we brought those all together. So it's super intentional. And then what I'll say, part 2 of your question is, okay, so, but then the hard stuff, right? Like people, it is tricky. And the number one piece is when you don't release people when they need to be released and let go and let free, right? That is at location levels. Like it would always just breed negativity so quick throughout the entire team. It's like, sports teams and you see a momentum shift, right? And you're watching in a match or like tennis match and you see that momentum shift. You can see it. It happens. And all of a sudden they're just going down, 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 down. Like teams, that momentum shift, it's so critical. And you need to catch that before it completely just infiltrates into the rest of the team. And so that is so important, I believe, is like catching it. As soon as you start to see it, you need to sit down. You need to have, hard conversations early. Clear is kind. And as you grow and your business grows, the needs for people change. And that is a very hard lesson. And that can be really hard as we are a very tight-knit group. Those decisions those are challenging decisions to make. They're the hardest decisions I ever had to make. And my biggest challenge with myself was, I know we are very aligned on this. Women have incredible intuition. And I always knew, like, as soon as someone needed to be let go and released from the business. And oftentimes I was like, maybe like one more chance, like they can get there. Like, you just want it so bad for them because they're good people and they've been with you for a long time. And then it just doesn't work. And often it becomes too late. And those can be the biggest learnings for sure.
So much to unpack. And I also want to touch upon like the beginning stages of hiring because it is different later down the road when you have systems in place. For everyone who's
Mm-hmm.
like at the very early stages and thinking about doing a first hire, maybe they're thinking about doing a second hire. Like, how do you think about that, those roles? And are you, how involved were you at the beginning in these locations, right? Because at a certain time you're not as involved, so how do you know when to fire, right? If you're not involved day to day, how do those people come to you? Like, what are the systems you're putting in place that people can come to you no problem with issues within, and so you can tighten up your systems and the people that are working there?
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. So first off is you in the beginning, generalists. You need generalists who execute, who can do pretty much everything pretty well, and they execute like none other. Like, they just get shit done. And they are able to have like strong personal leadership. So almost this like entrepreneurial attitude within them, because and I truly, like, I'm always like, you need to find an Amy. That's what I say. You need to find a Lacey. Like, those are my two people who started with me, and they were exactly that. You could give them something with, the direction, not 100% understanding like the full what needed to be done because we haven't done it before. And they would come back and be like, hey, X, Y, and Z, and here's what we need to do. And then this is what I'm thinking on execution. And so that also comes with a significant amount of trust in people and in yourself, that you are hiring the right people. So I knew I was good at reading people and finding good people for our business. And therefore, I put a lot of trust early on in people. And therefore, they would rise to the occasion. They felt a lot of passion and ownership around what they do. And I think that is the dynamo combo when you are starting out, is to find people who have ownership and passion for the business that you are building. And then you do need to provide trust. And I've never been a micromanager. I allow people the space to prove what they can do, and then I step in and assist. And I also really provide a space that we understand and appreciate that mistakes are going to be made, and there's like no mistake is bigger than the mistakes I make, so they'll be fine.
Yeah. Such a good point. And but you also do like these really amazing like from the outside it like looks like you're doing them quite often. Like you're bringing your team together and there's this piece to it where it's like raw and you get everyone in together to like build this culture and like it's really positive and it's almost it almost seems like a coaching like
Mhm.
opportunity and it really like glues your team together. What do those look like and how have those worked out for you?
Yeah. So interesting in my journey as a leader, when I started, aside from Lacey and Amy, I felt like part of my job as a leader was to also protect my team. So, from the ups and downs that are a business starting out, because I never wanted anyone to worry. I always wanted to be the optimist, the visionary, and get that rah like, here we go, we're on this together, and look at us winning everywhere. And we weren't always winning, Danny. Like, we were losing a lot in certain areas. And and especially like going into COVID, like 322 days of lockdown for personal care industry. I'd brought an investor on early on, like 2018, quickly, a stint, and ended up buying him out. It was, a whole podcast episode is like learnings from that experience. I protected my team during a lot of that. And at the end of that experience, I had this amazing coach who I was working with, and he said to me, he's like, why don't you bring them along for the ride? Like, you bring them along, but like really share. Like, what you are doing is so inspiring, and how you just bought your investor out because their vision and was not aligned, and the protection that you have over this business of what you want and how you want it to grow is so inspiring. And I did. And that is vulnerable leadership. And it is the best thing that I have ever done that helps to allow your team to really be participants in the true ups and downs of the business. And do I share everything? No, of course not. Like there's a level at which like we need to keep things that our only founders have to deal with. And that's why we're founders. And I would bring them along for the ride. Like I would tell them when things were rough, and they rallied stronger than ever before. COVID, it was my team members calling me to say, we got this. We are here. We will work for free. We will do whatever it takes. We are in this together. And that is that's everything. Like that is just the greatest compliment I could have ever received. And it's because I allowed them truly to feel that ownership and be part of the team in the good times and the challenging times. So I think, and women are truly the best at this, like being vulnerable. And so actually, and the last thing I'll say is what we would do is every month we would come together as a management team, mostly virtually. And then actually we were starting to do it more frequently in person because people love each other and want to be around each other. And we would come together, and one part that we would share, and this was a learning from my experience, was a vulnerable moment from the month. When did we make a mistake? And we, should have known better. And it was all about sharing to know that mistakes are going to happen and you're in a safe space. And also, let's not do it twice. Because it's really going to suck if you have to come to that meeting and share that you made the same mistake again. And so it, again, was just keeping this culture of like a safe space. And Waxon's, purpose statement is providing and inspiring you to live confidently in your own skin, in this safe space. Like it was a safe space to allow you to do that. And that went throughout our entire leadership and management team.
It's incredible. And so you still do, it's a monthly meeting with all with the management team.
So yes, but I'm less involved. Like now that I've kind of shifted my role, it's like taking my little baby and they're like, okay, fly. So I'm less involved in those now than I used to be. But they were one of my favorite things to do. And I think truly impactful. Like I believe, that contact that you have with your team and the exposure. I also would do skip level meetings. So I'd try and, just meet, and it was their agenda, not mine, for a coffee with, any member of my management team. Sending texts to my estheticians on their birthdays, looking at results before I go in to make sure that I'm like letting so-and-so know that, Erin, you did a fantastic job this week. Like, holy shit, your product sales are off the charts. Like those are these little things that we can do as leaders that have lasting impact on how that person feels, because they know, wait a second, she's actually looking at how I do. Like what I do here in the company that's ever growing and expanding matters to the founder. Like that's, it takes the smallest little bits that are so impactful that you're taking out of your day to show your team, in my eyes, your most valuable asset, that you truly care.
You are not just a cog in the wheel. Like you're treating everyone like they are humans. They are a family. Like they are part of
And
your
they are.
Right?
Yeah.
You have 4 kids.
I don't know. I always laugh at that because I think it still surprises me. Sometimes Adam and I just look and we're like, holy shit, there's so many of them. This is not like on our bingo card.
You have birthed 3 times 4 children.
Yes.
Insane.
Every which way possible. Every way possible, actually. Like truly.
Every way
My
possible.
last was a C-section and vaginal. So I've actually done every single.
I also had a vaginal and then a C-section, interestingly enough.
You did, but the twins were vaginal and C-section.
Oh my God, what?
Yeah. Again, we can, yeah.
Oh, that's insane.
Okay. Oh, Danny, I will send you episode whatever of We Go There when I was doing the We Go There podcast. It's all about my twin labor. It's, if you're pregnant, do not listen to it. After you have a baby, listen to it.
Good to know. Good. That's actually very helpful to know upfront. Okay, I need to hear about all of that after, because that's insane.
Oh, it's insane.
So yes, you have four kiddos and this business. And obviously, I mean, you started the business before you were like family planning, which again, I think like for timing wise for you, like worked out really well, but you are growing and scaling the business with these four tiny humans and also going through now like a really interesting transitional period, which we'll talk about in a second. But let's just start with how the absolute did you do all of this with these like tiny humans over the last 5 years?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, when I started, I was able to be the most selfish person ever. I didn't even have Adam in my life yet. So uh, it truly, and I always say this, that it is that it takes an absolute village, and it takes a partner who knew from day one that this was a true partnership. We were 100%, 100%. And we were both all in this for all the things, the changing the diapers, the like he knew my ambition and my dreams for my business. I knew his ambition and dreams for his business. And we were aligned in that. Though, and it's funny, we talk about this. It was never like spoken words. It was just like this knowing between us. And thankfully that has truly stayed consistent, because there is absolutely no way. And specifically the last year that I just went through, there's absolutely no way that I would be able to be where I am today without the support of Adam, my partner. And I get like emotional every time I talk about it, because he's just stepped up and allowed me to fly when I needed to. And I can't wait that I get to repay that favor to him one day as well. You know, it's important to have that. Like when you're at like 2%, he is at 98, and with no questions, like not even a word. And a village. So I'm very clear, and I think it's so important for us to share more on this as women, because we absolutely cannot do it on our own. It is so crystal clear, not possible. I am not a superwoman. Like after I had the twins, like, you're a superwoman. Look at you, 4 kids in 4 years. I was like, sorry, do you see the 2 nannies like right there, like doing everything? Yes, that is truly how it is done. And it needs to be talked about, needs to be shared, because we can't do it by ourselves.
It's so funny because I'm now remembering I saw you at an event and I was like thinking about getting a nanny because I was like pregnant with my second and I was like, how the heck am I going to run my business, which is like in infancy stage and
Yeah.
needs so much attention with like two little kids. And I remember being like anxious about bringing someone into my home and like what this all looks like. And you were like, you need to do this. It's going to change your life for the in the most wonderful way. And I'm like so grateful for you actually for that conversation because I was like really anxious at the time because I had never thought about this for myself. I was like gonna pretend like I was superwoman and do all the things. And then I was like, that's not sustainable. And I was like, this is also a really big financial investment. Like, I don't know if we're ready for this, but I feel like it's another like risk, like another business risk. And I'm like, if I am going to keep risking myself in business, then I have to take this risk too. Otherwise, it won't work.
The
And it's been,
ROI will always be in that, because you're investing in yourself right there, right? Like you're investing in someone else, and that in turn is investing in yourself. And the thing is, when we attempt to do it all ourselves, the number one person who gets left behind is us. We will do everything else for everyone else. We will always show up for our kids and our partners and everyone else around us that needs us. We will absolutely leave ourselves behind. And that situation, we are the foundation. We are truly what keeps that house standing and strong. And if we are wobbly and we don't input like the things that we need into ourselves in our lives, it will all crumble. I truly believe that. And Adam and I, like, so we made a very clear intention, like, we got to staff up. This is going to be wild. We now look back at like videos when the kids, like the twins, were born and how little Piper and Clark were. They were like 2 and 4, and we're like, that is messed up, man. Like, how did we do that? Like, we can't even believe it. And it's day by day. And it's also like making light of it too. Just like being like, this is real messed up. And oh man, we're gonna look back and be like, remember those times. And I can say it 100%. I come from with great privilege that I have two nannies, right? And we are not all in a place. And I love, what you're saying about the investment to be able to do that. But your village does not have to look like that. And I think we get caught up in that, the dollars and cents of it, and forget about the innate village that is our family, our friends, people who truly actually want to help, like genuinely want to help you when they know you are in need of help. But it's carpools, it's, meal share programs. It can be so many different ways that just help you to get some additional support. Regular play dates, like what a gift. Even like I love hosting play dates because it means my kids aren't bothering me. Like bring on more kids. Like sounds crazy, but it actually helps.
It
So
totally
I think
does.
we can be creative about it. And it doesn't always mean, in our case, it was staffing up, but that was what was going to fit for us. So I think that's a really important thing to note is we need to get creative and we also need to ask. And as women, we tend to have business, relationships, personal life in general, this thing about asking. Because, like, what if they say no?
It's
That's
really
it.
tough, and I feel like the more you do it though, the more you ask, the easier it gets because you get more
Hmm.
used to the hearing the no, I can't, and then you just keep going because you get more yeses, like it's just math. And so I think when you like flex that muscle more often,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier.
It's just a no. Like, it's just a no. That's it. You didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a good time to also talk about like where you're at now because you do still have tiny humans to take care of. You have the business, but you're not as involved right now. What's going on there and what's going on with this like transitional period? Like it's so new for you at this
Yeah.
stage of business. And I think there's a lot of people that are at this stage when they're like changing right now or like figuring out their next steps or also like thinking about like what happens when you get to that place. So what's it like being in back in this like discomfort of like I have time?
It's so funny, right? Because it's like all I wish for is time and time and time. And then you have time. You're like, oh, okay, this is quite uncomfortable. Yeah, so my role significantly changed from Waxon, obviously always promoting and support and this is my favorite. Like I just love sharing stories and hopes that it helps anyone that is, just desiring to take a leap and build their business or is in the midst of building their business. I can't tell you enough how much I love it. So my roles shifted, which has provided me with more time to explore what's next. So for me, I have invested in some female founded brands and I want to continue to mentor and explore that avenue more, which is so amazing and such an honor and privilege in both like providing knowledge and finance, in both realms, which I think equally are as important. And then it's what is next, and I don't have an answer, and I think that is such a rare place for me to be. I am a big goal oriented, like I got it and here we go, and I'm doing everything in my power to make it happen, and it happens, and then I'm on to the next. And I really want to lean into the discomfort that is this transition and not force myself to go directly to what's next. So yeah, so I'm leaning into like my friendships, my family, and areas that have taken that sway, I was just in a place where the pendulum was so far on the other side. I did not have the space for a lot of that. And I think that's really important to know in life is like we do go through these phases. I don't believe balance is a thing in the day to day whatsoever. And we go through these phases where it is so you are in it and there is no other option. And that was my last year. I needed to be in it and I knew that. And now I'm in this moment where I get to now show up and do more of the things and participate and take over more of my half than, Adam needs to and give back him some time as he's building a new business as well. So it's such a you've got to be able to flow and understand that like when you're in it, and it can always come back. And then when it's not, and when you are in it, that's where like you've got to build time for ourselves. Like we need to have time for ourselves. We need to have at least just like 15 minutes, like just something a day for a moment of peace and coming back to us. Because again, like we can't be the one who crumbles. We can't leave ourselves behind.
Yeah, speaking of which, I mean, you've done so much great work on yourself. You've invested a lot of time and energy like on yourself and your mindset and personal development and growth. What's the biggest advice you can give someone listening right now to do better at taking care of themselves or how to get through that season?
Yeah. So one of our actually core values at Waxon is be humble. We're always learning and growing each and every day. And I like apply that to my everyday life, always continuing to be curious and wanting and allowing myself to continue to grow and develop as a person and leader and all facets of my life. When we are in it, it again, like we let ourselves go and we deprioritize ourselves and everything else takes precedent and we can't show up. And I know like I am my number one priority. My priorities, and like this can be triggering for people, it is myself, it is Adam and my relationship, and then it is our kids. And I believe that if I'm not showing up as my best self, I'm good for no one. If Adam and I aren't showcasing a strong, loving relationship for our kids, that's going to be a problem in our household, and then obviously our kids. And that means, how do I build time for myself? So I have this bite sizing, and I am all about bite
Yes.
sizing
Oh my God, let's
because
go full circle here. Tell us about what bite sizing is, because I've heard you speak about it, but share with everyone.
yes, so bite sizing is this idea of creating time where we have no time and space. Can we create 15 minutes? Can we start there and spend 15 minutes on ourselves? Let's say for ourselves, because it can be applied to so many different ways. But for this, like, can I just wake up even 15 minutes sooner and journal and go for a walk? Do a 15-minute workout. The amount, Danny, 15-minute workouts I do is unbelievable. And it is just to get you to a space mentally where I am the priority. That is what you're telling yourself. I matter. I am important. All of that because you are creating 15 minutes for yourself. I also love it if you're just trying to get started on something. So if it is a new workout routine, if it is, or just working out consistently, because with bite sizing, the most important part is you must show up for yourself every single day. It does not work if you don't do 15 minutes every single day. And you start this routine and ritual that you won't believe ends up expanding very slowly into more time. You're like, but I could do 20 minutes. Like I can do 20 minutes. And when you apply it to something like starting a business, it's taking action during those 15 minutes. So you've got a list of things that you constantly are adding to. And in those 15 minutes, it is zero interruption. And I am knocking things off the list, dedicating that time, sacred time to that business that I want to launch. So I love it for just like habit, like creating new habits that we want to then bring into like daily living. And also for building time for ourselves where we feel like we absolutely don't have another minute. Because don't you dare tell me that you can't cut down your Instagram like by 15
You're
minutes. Like we all
scrolling. Yeah,
can. We all have the time. We are just very good at making excuses of why we can't.
that's it. I usually feel like people get asked, what's your biggest piece of advice for everyone listening? And I'm going to flip it on its head a little bit and
Mm.
ask you, what's the biggest piece of advice you would have given your younger self in the midst of
Oh,
your entrepreneurial journey?
you can't get it wrong. You actually can't get it wrong. No matter what choice you make, you cannot get it wrong. Like you just can't. It will always be right. It may feel really wrong at the time. It may hurt so much. It may be the most painful, challenging experience. But looking back, I did not make a wrong decision in my business. And they were the best learning experiences in the most painful moments. And it's only, right? You can only connect the dots looking back, as Steve Jobs says, and that's the best. But if I could tell my younger self, it would have been like, you can't get it wrong. Like, don't worry, because it will work out exactly as it is meant to work out. And I truly, truly believe that.
I don't know about you guys, but I have actual goosebumps like all in my arms right now. I feel like it's such a
Danny, you can't get it wrong, girl.
it's so powerful. It's like we all need to hear that, because I feel
Me
like
too.
sometimes we just go into things, and I'll just speak for myself. Like I'll be like, okay, this was a big fuck up. And I'm like, actually, we have to just flip that. It's like that was a really good decision. We learned so much. That could have been a $1 million fuck up, and instead it cost us 5 grand or something. And
Exactly.
I think that's such a great reminder, and it's such a
Fuck
good.
it all up right now. Like, do all those decisions now, right? Because that's where they're like less significant.
Yeah,
You're on the up and
exactly.
up. Once you get, continue to grow, those mistakes cost a little more money.
Yeah, bigger problems,
But
bigger,
it's still not wrong.
more money, more problems up until
More
that
money.
time. So yeah, it's a good place to end on. And I feel like there was so much in there. Thank you so much. I feel like it was such a powerful conversation. So many good takeaways for everyone. If they want to like get in touch with you or find you online, where do they find you?
Yeah, so follow me, Lexi Miles Corrin on Instagram. That's the best spot. I share it all. I share lots
Yeah,
about family and
perfect. Perfect.
life and all the things. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank
And
you
then
so much.
obviously follow Waxon, and then you can go online and see all of our locations online, waxon.ca.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lexi.
Thank you.
Love today's episode? Hit subscribe and share it with a friend who'll love it too. For more jam-packed episodes and to connect with me, head to dannykagan.com. And hey, the best way to support the show? Leave a 5-star review for me so we can help more people like you raise it up.